My name is Tyler Shookman. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ community. At a very young age, I knew that I was different, and I struggled with who I truly was because of my Christian faith. I grew up in the church and lived a double life into my early 20s. I remember, as a kid, sitting in church, listening to the pastor say, homosexuals are going to burn in hell for eternity. I sat in that pew absolutely crushed. I was scared, alone, and had no one to talk to about what I was going through in fear of being disowned. I would pray myself to sleep. It was to the point in my young life where I contemplated suicide. It wasn't until my best friend's dad, Mark, reached out to me and witnessed to me with his own story. Mark was told by his pastor that if he got married and had kids, it would take away his homosexual feelings. Well, guess what? It didn't. Instead, he was now a married man with kids living a lie. He learned a very tough lesson and taught me that what I was feeling is okay, and that God loves me unconditionally. I can honestly say, if it wasn't for Mark, I wouldn't be here today. I have finally come to terms with who I truly am and live a life as my true, authentic self, saved by grace. The only choice I made was to be honest with myself and the people I love. I absolutely love Owensboro. Our city has come so far, but not quite far enough. Unfortunately, you have refused to protect all of Davis County residents from discrimination. Currently, sexual orientation and gender identity are left out of our civil rights protections. This is an utter disappointment to all of us and a complete failure of our local elected officials. I don't want the city I love to be known as a city of hate and discrimination. I firmly believe that one day, all of us will live in a city that protects all of its people from discrimination. The future of Owensboro is much brighter than the reality is right now. I believe in an Owensboro where who you love is not a deciding factor on whether or not our city will protect you from discrimination. I believe in an Owensboro where a child doesn't have to go to school in fear of being bullied, humiliated, or discriminated against because they are gay. Owensboro's future should be one where all people, regardless of their differences, can live, work, and learn in an environment free from discrimination and harassment. 15 other cities in the state of Kentucky have passed similar ordinances protecting all of their citizens. It's disheartening to know that I can be fired, denied service and housing for being gay in the fourth largest city in Kentucky. Just under 5,000 people have signed our local petition in support of a non-discrimination policy, and we aren't going to back down. Instead of burning bridges with the people in the LGBTQ community, we have an opportunity right here, right now, to build bridges of unity between groups of people who have never been connected before. I pray that God will open your hearts and minds. It's time to do the right thing. Do this for the future of Owensboro, Davis County. Thank you.
have a copy or you have access to it. The draft was given to us by Claude Porter, our county attorney. As I studied the draft, a couple of things became obvious to me. First, probably most cities who pass a fairness ordinance use pretty close to the same language with a little tweak here, a little tweak there. Everyone wants to write the perfect ordinance, the theory being that they can take care of all objections and so it will pass. Secondly, and to me most importantly, I considered that this ordinance is really not about the words that are used in the ordinance. This decision is absolutely not about semantics at all. It is about a larger philosophical question. And I also believe that everybody here knows that too, that it's about a larger philosophical question. On one side, there's a group that I will refer to as the religious conservative. They are convinced that if this law is passed, their religious liberties and freedom of conscience will be eroded. They believe that this is a slippery slope and it causes them much concern. On the other side, the LGBTQ plus community wants the fairness ordinance to pass so as to forward their agenda. They would like everyone in the community to affirm that the LGBT community and their lifestyle is accepted here in Davis County. To me, the most important thing is how are the members of the LGBT community actually being treated. I believe they're being treated well. Quite frankly, I'm a little confused on how people believe that if Davis County Fiscal Court votes and passes this ordinance, that all of a sudden, no one in Davis County is going to be prejudiced and everyone will all of a sudden be fair. I guess I also do not understand how people believe that this will demonstrate the opinion of 102,000 citizens of Davis County. Since I know how I will vote, I firmly believe that the ordinance is not going to pass. I believe that we owe it to the people of Davis County to let them know as soon as possible. My intention is to eliminate any false hope that there will be an ordinance that passes. Now I'm going to attempt to explain why I am against this ordinance. As I have stated, I do not believe that you can legislate fairness. And I do believe that when you pass a new law, there are always unintended consequences. Honestly, I'm not sure myself what the definition of an LGBTQ community really is. It seems to be very fluid. It seems like the way you get in is declare yourself in. There's no scientific way to prove you're a member or not. We know that some people join the community and others leave. It is my understanding that there are 21 official genders. It is my understanding that there are 21 official genders in New York City, and over 58 genders reported by ABC News that are used on Facebook. This uncertainty would absolutely make this very difficult to enforce. As I stated, anytime a new law is passed, there are unintended consequences with unforeseen ramifications. As an example, would be if we inadvertently limited the liberty of an organization, a business, or a private citizen to exercise their religious liberties and freedom of conscience. Remember, there are always two sides to every story. I believe that the religious conservative in this country are constantly being told what they can do and what they can say, and what they can't do and what they can't say. They are being forced to do things that are against their personal religious beliefs. If they step out of line or say the wrong thing, their business may be shut down, or they could suffer a very expensive lawsuit. To be able to have a moral argument has been taken away from them. Specifically, they will be told that they are using hate speech and probably told that they're a bigot. it seems like a lot of people like to call other people a bigot. I would say that there's a good chance that those who oppose the fairness ordinance would at some point be forced to do things that demonstrate that they are approving same-sex behavior and it is against their moral convictions. Some examples already exist. A lot of you will know these examples. We've had people who had problems that are cake makers, florists, t-shirt companies, Christian Athlete Association, county clerks, Chick-fil-A, female high school athletes, Catholic social services, and even an NFL quarterback, Drew Brees. He was chastised after doing a 30-second commercial recommending that kids bring their Bibles to school on Bible Day. In quite a few of the letters I received, different people talk to me about Jesus Christ and what they believe he will do. Because of that, I'm going to ease into that subject. I also have a thought about what Jesus might say or do. I feel confident that Jesus would say, love God with all of your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. And I believe we must always do that, all of us. However, sometimes loving someone gets a little tricky. To truly love someone, you must tell them the truth. I read the other day online that what a writer referred to as the perfect quote. Love without truth is hypocrisy. Truth without love is brutality. After Jesus saved a woman from being stoned to death, he did not just pat her on the back and say, go along and have a nice day. He said, go sin no more. He drove merchants from the temple with a whip. It was a whip that he wove with his own hands. He told them the truth. I believe that Jesus might also tell us, moral truths never change. Let me say that again. Moral truths never change. They won't change if the majority says they should, or if the polls read a certain way. Also, they will not change if the members of this court pass a new ordinance. Another risk of this ordinance is that it will cause division in this community. I can already see that happening. If passed, people will immediately begin testing them and trying to find the boundaries on the new laws and the rules. There will be lines drawn, and people who were naturally fair will now only just follow the law. There will probably be more lawsuits. People will do things that they wouldn't have done before. Decisions will be made for the wrong reasons, all because of an ordinance. I firmly believe that we need to end this discussion and put it to rest so that our citizens can move on. To do anything else would not be prudent. It would just prolong the inevitable and to continue to give people false impression and false hope that if we just keep talking about it and massaging the words, somehow it'll pass. I am asking that we end this discussion by doing one of two things. And I ask you, the judge, to do this. Either declare the ordinance dead on arrival, which I firmly believe it is. We have to have 3 votes before it passes. There are not 3 votes. Or put the ordinance up for a vote. Quit dragging our feet. Put one up there and let's get it over with. If we're going to vote on one, let's vote on one. If we're not, let's declare it gone. To be in limbo is painful. It's painful for everybody. It's painful for me. It's painful for everybody in this room in the hall and 102 citizens of Davis County. Either way, we need to stop it, stop the tension and the disagreement so that we can move on with other business. Thank you.
Commissioner, I hear your call. Since it's in my purview to put things on the agenda and to continue to allow discussion. I'm not going to do what you asked. Secondly, that's not what we're up here for. But secondly, there are a lot of things that you have brought up that I agree with. There are many things that I disagree with. I think that if we avoided all the things that were divisive in this community, we would still have black people climbing the stairs at the Strand Theater. We'd have them sitting at a different table in the restaurants. We'd have them going to the back of buildings. I believe that if we did not, I want to start throwing this thing, guys. I believe, who wants me to throw it? Who clapped? Oh, all right. I believe that women would not be voting today if we didn't discuss and have these things. I believe my wife and I would be divorced probably today if we didn't discuss issues that we disagreed on. Discussion is what brings people together, and we need to be looking for commonality as opposed to the things that divide us. So I think it's a healthy discussion. I think we're going to continue the discussion. I would ask that we not have a discussion at our next meeting. I hate the fact, and I know some of the things that you're talking about, because I was called, let's see, I made a deal with Satan today. Somebody said that I must have made a deal with Satan. Somebody said that I'm doing what I'm doing to get more votes. Lord, the easiest way to get votes is just sit and do nothing and stay the same way that we were for the last 4 or 8 years and be that way the next. That's not what I'm doing this. I absolutely believe that we have a segment in our community that's being discriminated against. I had a letter, I brought 2 letters out as a matter of fact, and one of them's from a gentleman, and every one of you up here know this man. And he said, as a father of a gay married man, I wish we lived in a world where such discussions were unnecessary. Isn't that in the 21st century? And I think most discussions with our younger people, it's not necessary because there's very many young people here today. To say we don't need a law is the same as saying we don't need equal employment opportunity laws or civil rights laws. And that's what the gay community is asking. But finally he says, my son would never consider making his home back here in Davis County for many reasons, but one of those is this issue. We want our kids to come back here after college, if we want them. And we need to show them that we care about everyone. And let's not leave anyone behind. The next one really tugged at my heart. And this lady is the mom of a son who's gay. They realized early on that this young man was gay. He was discriminated at school, at the clubs he joined because he was different. He was discriminated and bullied so much that he contemplated suicide. Once he told his mom and dad, his life changed a bit because they were accepting. Thank God they were good parents and didn't try to change their son. They tried to understand their son, but they loved him and supported him. My son now has a good job in another city that's less judgmental. He would love to come back, but he knows the climate of this area is not safe for him to live. And I think that my mom would have said this same thing. For any of her sons, she says, you would like my son. You would like my son. He works very hard, makes good money, he can afford to live where he wants. And she signs it, a grieving mom. Not for my son, but for what I'm having to read in the paper in this community. When you get letters like this from parents, when you get letters from people who have been bullied and have been discriminated against, I don't think that you cannot have the conversation. I don't think that you cannot address the issue.